get an update on that, and we'll also have a segment or two on collectibles. Collectibles, our favorite collectibles people will be here to talk about what is that worth, what is that thing worth in your house. You might think it's a piece of junk worth in your house, and but it may not. It may be worth a lot of money. Find out on KFWB on Money 101, he said breathlessly. Okay. Ken Jeffries here, and Melody Rogers with us in studio, former TV host, Two on the Town, former actress, Saved by the Bell. Chorus line, too. You were in a chorus line, weren't you?
Yeah, I sure was.
You were the one, you were left from the center. No, I don't know.
Yeah.
And also on the line with us is Patrick Paraquat Kelly, former L.A. radio star and still very well-known voice in Los Angeles from his days at the old Mighty Met, KMET. And Patrick, before we went to break, we talked about, this is the story of reinvention, how you guys reinvented yourselves after show business, in your case after radio, in Melody's case after television. And you guys went into real estate, but it was made tougher because you were also diagnosed with MS, and you were starting to describe some of that for us.
Yeah, it was tough. After I was diagnosed with MS, we felt, fairly confident that it probably wouldn't get any worse than it was. And as it turns out, kaboom, it was the worst. It was the worst kind to have. But that having been said, you know what? This is it. This is it. We continued to. We felt that if we wrote a book about our experience of dealing with out of work, in work, dealing with MS, aging out, and all that stuff, and turned a lemon into lemonade, we would be doing something fantastic.
Yeah.
And of course,
you have an audience there, too, by the way, I noticed. Yeah.
That's Stella and Tuesday, his constant protectors.
That's all right. Your dog is guarding your home. That's what you want to do. Okay.
They're guarding me.
And guarding you. Exactly so.
They're my best friends.
Let me ask Melody for a second too, as an MS caregiver, which is what you are.
Right.
What did you go through with some of the emotions that you were feeling?
Well, in the beginning, we were told it was relapsing remitting. For those of you who don't know, and we're going to talk to someone in just a moment, near and dear to me, who has that. But go ahead. Right. Which is not a good thing, but you can function pretty normally, and then you will have attacks. And so we thought, well, for a few years he did okay. I mean, he had to use a cane and then a walker, but we thought we were golden as far as MS goes. But then it just continued getting worse. And as a caretaker, I think the hardest thing is your heart and your emotions when you see someone you love deteriorating like that and having to struggle, especially a man who was a black belt in karate and a scratch golfer who can't. Right now, he has trouble even sitting up. So, oh my goodness. Yeah, it's but the thing about Pat is his spirit is amazing. I mean, he's positive. He believes that in his lifetime there'll be a cure. I do too. I have to believe that. But being a caretaker, it's tough. It's simple, but it's not easy. Let me put it that way. Yeah, I could say that's something that you and I have in common. In a sense, I don't want to say I'm a caretaker to my wife. My wife Stephanie is on the line with us, so we can put her up right now. Stephanie, good morning. And first of all, how are you feeling?
Tired from yesterday, but okay.
Yeah, she made Thanksgiving dinner. Yeah.
Yes.
I did too, Stephanie. I did too.
Yes.
It was tough.
And, you guys have your little barking one around? I have a little barking one floating around here, too.
Yeah, so it must be...
Sure that would be Sasha. She's barking at something.
Barking at something now.
You were talking about, the type of remission in MS, which I have, and which means I'll have an attack, and then I'll come back almost 100%, but yet not quite. And as you have more attacks, a little more will be noticeably missing, or you'll lose a function, or you'll have problems with a different system of your body each time. But for me, it's like figuring out the proper balance between rest and work and life. And for me, I think, as Ken will tell you, I go 120% nonstop a day. And then you hit the wall, right? Then you kind of hit a wall for a while? Then I hit a wall, yeah. And what I'm finding is that depending upon the treatment that you're on, they're designed to keep you from having more attacks, they're not 100% yet, but I think the best you can say is they're at least 70 to 80% effective, some of them, but yet there's some of us that still have attacks. And it goes cyclic for me, depending upon, health-wise. And I notice that I have more attacks when I've been sick. Mm-hmm. Little things like, a cold or other systems get infected.
Now, I want to ask Pat a question. Pat, my wife has, as you just heard, she has relapsing remitting, and you have degenerative.
Right.
Two really kind of different animals, right?
Yeah. I really don't have any exacerbations or where it gets worse.
And we ought to explain what is an exacerbation to those who don't know.
Me, what it means is that I know of being, I guess, because of doing so much research in it. It means that something is set off your immune system to eat your own body, and what it's doing in MS, it eats the myelin sheet that covers the nerves, so you lose the insulation off your nerves. So it would be like stripping away the outer layers of like the bark off the tree, leaving the inner part of the tree exposed, and it's raw. And then you don't have function. The brain can't send messages from one cell to another through the synapses, of those nerves. And so sometimes you lose that ability of that muscle or that system for that period of time, where a lot of people will lose the ability to walk, or they'll have to walk with a cane, or with some kind of a apparatus on their feet, or they'll have the big problems for most MS patients also is the bladder system.
Yeah. All right, Steph, it sounds like the attack of the dogs, you guys. Pat, what about that?
With me is I'm just getting progressively worse. There are no minor setbacks, and then you regenerate and only lose a little bit more, and then you're good for 6 months, and then you have another kaboom, another attack, and then you lose. Mine is just downhill. Just keeps going down. But I believe, and I say this knocking on wood, that we may have hit, I'm hoping, the bottom. And I know that for sure with stem cell treatment, if they would just allow that to be legal in the U.S., I think stem cell treatment is going to really help people with my condition and everybody.
Right. But and then you say, now, Melody, you also explain that you hope and you're confident a cure will be found in Pat's lifetime.
I believe that with all my heart. I have to believe that.
Years ago, MS and really all the forms of MS were pretty bad. But they have made some medicine and stuff like that, some gains.
Well, and I went to nursing school, as my children will say, back in the dark ages. My son teases me that, Clara Barton and Florence Nightingale were my classmates, kind of thing, in nursing school. But when I was in nursing school back when, if somebody diagnosed with MS, you'd put them to bed, and you would try to keep them from moving and doing anything so that they would not have as much degeneration. And there were things that they did, which were the steroids they would hit you with, and hopefully that would help. Now we know that even though, and I know for you, Pat, every day is a challenge to get up and move, but we know we have to do it because that's what helps us a little bit more. And, I've been on different therapies like everybody, and I think my big question for you, Pat, is when did you first, now retrospectively, think that you had your first
for the first time? And you know what, you guys, we have to break right now. So, Stephanie, thanks very much. Appreciate it. And, Pat, we're going to get into that right after when we come back, okay?
Sure.
All right, all of that and more coming back. Melody Rogers and Patrick Kelly right here on Money 101. I'm Ken Jeffries in for Bob McCormick on KFWB News Talk 980. Money 101, I'm Ken Jeffries in for Bob McCormick. Melody Rogers with us in studio, formerly with Two on the Town, former actress and now a dynamic real estate agent. And by the way, what's the agency? Well, let's plug that.
We are with Normand and Associates. They have an office in Beverly Hills and Brentwood and Hollywood, and they're an amazing company.
Normand and Associates.
Yeah, family owned. They started it in '76, and it's the only boutique agency that hasn't been bought up by a major like Coldwell Banker.
Yeah,
because they just would not sell.
And in your view, the smaller the better, right?
They have been incredible, and we just do great jobs for all of our clients, and we have incredible support. And Myra Normand and Saeed Normand, who own the company, and their son Mikey. I mean, on our 25th anniversary, we couldn't go out, and Mikey got us dinner and brought it to our home. So that's the kind of people we work for.
Okay, so and her husband Pat Paraquat Kelly is on the line with us, and also we have a call. Grace from Long Beach is with us as well. Grace, what's your question, please?
Well, I'm listening to your program and the people that had the MS. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you've seen the 60 Minutes several years ago that was on with the 60 Minutes program. But there was a lady that had MS, and she had all the metal in her mouth removed, and amazing things happened. And we watched that show with, I forget the gentleman that was doing the show at the time, and that was Dr. Huggins out of Colorado.
Okay.
Was a dentist. And anyway, I don't know, these people have dentures. They've got metal in them. But if you have it removed, you'll see a great difference.
Does that mean metal? Mean fillings and things like that, or what?
Mercury amalgam.
Mercury.
Even in dentures, where it's full of it. My husband and I have been doing natural for many years. We've had going down to Mexico to have it done, taking the metal out and so on and so forth. But it helps a great deal for any conditions you have, diseases of all kinds. Mm. So it's really. It's amazing. This woman went out dancing. She was interviewed. The ADA was upset and actually threatened 60 Minutes for viewing the program being showed. But we did. I think I might even have a copy of that.
Oh, all right. Well, that's interesting. So get the metal out of your mouth, you say, huh?
Yeah, that's right. You want composite is what's used right now. It's a plastic, but it's made hard. And you have your fillings done, you have your dentures done. You just don't want any metal in your mouth. It's just people just don't seem to understand that, and it's improved my health a great deal, and so my husband too.
Let me ask Pat. Pat, you hear of anything like that before?
Yeah, my neurologist. I mentioned that to him. I said, "What do you think?" He goes, "Let me look inside your mouth." Unfortunately, I don't have. I have like 2 cavities, 2 that were filled back in the 70s. And it might have been that stuff. And I go, do you think that would make a difference, just those 2? He says, I don't believe so.
Anything, or even root canals. My husband has got dementia. He had root canals in the front of the 2 front teeth, and it was much too close to the brain. You just don't want to go there. You don't want to even cook on foil. Wow. I mean, it's not a good, use parchment paper and then put foil over it. I mean, all these things that have metal that you're eating, the things that we're eating off of today.
I think we got it, Grace. Metal. Yeah. Well, what do you think of that, Melody? You ever hear of that?
No, I have not. But, Grace, I want to ask you, the person on 60 Minutes, were they completely not able to walk or do anything like that?
She was wheelchair bound and then and then she had the metal removed. She had that done, I believe, in Colorado by a Dr. Huggins that was a dentist himself. And of course, he lost his license, but he fought anybody. In fact, he has a book out. It's all in your head.
Right. Okay. Well, that's fine.
You read that one, and one thing goes to another. But as you're talking about dementia, all of that.
Okay. Well, have you notified the MS Society about this 60 Minutes broadcast?
Myself?
Yeah.
No, I haven't. I mean, because it was shown on the air.
Right. You figured they would know. Right?
My gosh, I want to say maybe about 7-8 years ago.
Yeah.
And they're very much aware of all of that.
Okay.
All diseases. You're 2 things wrong when you have cancer. You got a solvent and you got a
right. Okay, Grace, thanks very much.
So much.
Thank you for calling, Grace. We appreciate that. And there are other more conventional forms of dealing with MS, as we've been telling you about, with various medications and stuff like that, and that have proven to work. Although, as I mentioned in Pat's case, there's not that much, and because of the degenerative and if it's degenerative condition.
Well, it's typical that I would have the degenerative type.
Because you're a degenerate, right?
Yeah. That's just the way it goes.
But I love you anyway.
Hey, there's a lot of things we didn't have time to get into here. But again, how do you deal with the computerized side of real estate, right, Pat? I mean, Melody does the legwork now because you're unable to, but at least you're able to, sit at home and do some of that stuff.
Computerized side. And let me just add one more thing.
Sure.
You were talking about the Normand and
Yes.
Associates. That's our real estate. The Normands. You talk about a family. It's a family business, and we are part of their family. We are. I feel like a Normand myself. That's how great they have been to us.
Are they related to Mabel Normand? Wasn't she an old silent movie star or something?
No.
Normand?
No, I don't think so.
You're thinking of Norma Desmond.
More Norma Desmond, yeah. I'm ready for my close-up, CB. Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
Hey, Pat, one thing we didn't get into real quick, and you can explain it, we have a couple of minutes. Your father was a very famous fellow, and for those of us who don't know, who was your father?
I don't know.
Yeah, we can't remember who he was now.
Oh, my dad.
Yeah.
I thought it was the milkman.
Because that's part of your book as well, of course.
No, my father was Bob Kelly, voice of the Los Angeles Rams, the original voice of the Rams, and what a wonderful man he was. And I found out on KFWB of all places,
of course,
right, that he'd had a serious heart attack.
Oh,
and he was in the hospital at Daniel Freeman Hospital. My brother Rob and I heard it.
And you found it by listening to KFWB. That's what a way to find out, huh?
Yeah, on the radio. Yes, Bob Kelly is in the hospital in critical condition, clinging to life.
God.
And we raced home, to be with the family to find out what was going on. And, boy, it was just kind of sad. When my mom showed up later that day with the priest, it was pretty evident that the news wasn't good. And he was a great guy, wonderful friend, and taught me a lot about life. Taught me a lot about life, love, and treating people well. That's what my dad taught me.
All right, again, the book is And There Will Always Be Termites.
Yes.
By Pat and Melody. Pat Kelly, Melody Rogers, and where can people go and get the book?
It's on Amazon. It's a Kindle book, but you can download it to computer, iPad, smartphone, or
computer,
any mobile device.
Yeah, and the website patandmelody.com or patandmelodynow.com. You can go to both, right? Really? Exactly. And it'll both direct you to how to get this book.
Well, yeah, right.
It's both a wonderful book. It's a wonderful journey. It's life. As they say, life happens, and it certainly happened to you guys,
I think we wrote it trying to help people who needed to reinvent themselves, and also for people who are in similar situations with a spouse or a family member that has MS or any debilitating disease, how we've been able to deal with it.
To overcome it. Well,
overcome and still have a good life. Right. And, as I said, it's simple, it's not easy, but you just get up every day and it's a new day with new opportunity, and you don't know what's going to happen that day, so you just go with it.
The book is great. I just finished reading it last night, and I got to say, the one word I have for it, it's honest. It is so honest. It's raw.
Oh, no kidding.
It really is.
Well, wait till the sequel comes out. It's even more honest.
No, but Ken, especially with EMS, we just felt that we had to be honest about what went on and the good and the bad to help other people.
Yeah. The book, and then there was termites.
And there will always
be termites. Close. There Will Always Be Termites by Pat Kelly and Melody Rogers. Melody, you're going to hang with us for a little bit. We have a little show business discussion to get into.
Right.
Pat, thanks very much. We really appreciate it.
You are the best. We really appreciate it. Melody and I both do. And thank you for helping us.
Can I give you a hooyah at the end of that?
Yeah.
And one day we'll talk and find out where that came from on the old Mighty Met.
You got it, man. I'd love to do it.